you showering the people you love with love? Sending them the meta energy, the loving kindness? Thank you so much. Just keep doing that and everything's going to be just fine. Everything. We forget this prescription for happiness is so simple. Just love one another as I have loved you. How did we get away from that? It's just such a simple and perfect teaching and perfect demonstration of what we need to do. Now, the only reason we don't do it, in my opinion, is because we don't accept who we really are. We don't accept our divine nature. According to spiritual law, the world you see will always reflect what is in your mind. Thoughts held in mind produced after their kind. As you judge, that's what you're going to see. Everything that you're putting out there is what's coming back. Why? Because you are so powerful. Your mind, your being is part of universal mind, is part of God. And so you are a powerful manifester. So whatever's in your mind is going to produce after its kind. What kind of world are you living in? What kind of community do you have? What kind of friends and neighbors do you have? What kind of family you're surrounded with? That's what's going on in your mind. And I love it because it's either absolutely wonderful and perfect or it's a perfect lesson. It's part of the lesson of how to grow in the knowledge of who we are and express the Christ within us. So it stands to reason that the world we experience is always going to be a reflection of how we are seeing and experiencing ourselves. That's why I believe the most important discovery we can make is that of our own divine nature. That's the most important discovery that we're going to make as human beings. That human beings are divine. That we are perfect, loving creations of a perfect, loving Creator. That's the most important. Don't you feel? That's the foundation of everything. That's how we're going to shower the people we love with love, is we're discovering that we are love. If I'm discovering that I am love, it's going to be easy to love you. Ellen Davenport wrote a great book called The Five Principles. This is the 5 principles of unity. And in that book, she says, the point of spiritual growth is to live from the Christ within. We're making decisions now from our higher self, not from our fearful self. We're making decisions from our higher self. She goes on to say that we are loving with the unconditional and inexhaustible energy of the divine. When you find it difficult to love, remember that you are loving from the unconditional and inexhaustible energy of the divine. That's where your loving comes from. That's what is capable of showering the people everywhere with love. And in fact, that really is our only purpose here, is to shower the people that we find around us with the same love that we wish to receive. She goes on to say that it is contributing to the well-being of the planet when we do this. It is to express effortlessly that which we truly are. We express that effortlessly. Who we are is not something that I can accurately describe in words or concepts, for it is an experience of the discovery of God within us. We talk a lot about God within you and Christ within you. It's our second principle, which is what I'm reading from, which is that the divine lives in you, that human beings have a spark of divinity within them, and that's the Christ Spirit within. And that your very essence is of God, and if God is good, therefore we are also inherently good. I was in a class one time and they were teaching this, and somebody walked out. And the teacher said, well, wait a minute. She held everybody here. She went out in the hallway and caught that person and says, why are you walking out? I just want to know. You don't have to stay, but I just want to know. And he says, not everybody is inherently good. There is evil in the world. People are evil. And when you take away that part of the equation and point out that everyone actually is inherently good, then perhaps that destroys your whole thought system. That may destroy your theology. That may ruin the religion you grew up with. That may change your whole mind about the purpose for your life. And that's not acceptable to some people because they wish to hold on to the purpose that they have of being separate from you and having a different opinion of you. And guess what? Their opinion's right. Now, what I'm here to tell you is no opinion is right. It is just a step on the road, another stepping stone to discovering who and what you truly are. We all have opinions. All of us have ideas, and they change constantly. My opinions and ideas change from last year or last month or last week even. Or even yesterday, I may have had an opinion which I heard some truth that changed it or expanded it, made it grow. So we're growing in our knowledge of who we are, in our discovery that God is love and only love. And if you don't believe that Christianity teaches that, just pick up 1 John chapter 4. It says God is love about 100 times. And therefore, that's what you are. And that's our second principle of unity. That if God is good, then we are also inherently good. Ellen reminds us in her book that people who insist that human beings are divine are often accused of thinking that they are God. And the secret is, we are. We are, just as everything is. Everything in this vast universe is one, and it is made of the same thing, and that is good, and that is God. Thich Nhat Hanh says that enlightenment is the moment the wave realizes it's the ocean. Right? Isn't that wonderful? That's you. Wow, I'm not separate any longer. I always say it's the drop of water realizing it's the ocean. Because we make ourselves so small that we separate ourselves from the drop next to us. And even the person next to us becomes someone else. We used to say in the Course in Miracles that Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself because your neighbor is yourself. It's not someone else. It's you in a different location in space-time. It's so easy to demonstrate if all of you just switch chairs for a minute. Right? You're just sitting in a different body right now. It's just still you. It's not someone else. Wow. What a realization. That's enlightenment, my friends. You are the ocean. You are everyone. So it's important to start treating everyone the way you want to be treated. To realize what we truly are as one. I initially wanted to call this message, Who Are You? And I thought, wow, that's still in separation, isn't it? There's a you and there's a me. But who are we? Because we are one. Who am I is a great question. What am I is a great question. But once you discover that, it should be pretty evident that in that discovery is who are we? If I am one with God, then we are one with God. And we are that together. And so it is our purpose, those who discover who they are, to offer that to everyone else. Because they're going to be one with God anyway. Would you rather be relating to somebody who knows that or who is completely unaware of it? And therefore, I'm going to uphold the false sense of separation that you feel and that I once felt. And therefore, maybe I'll feel it again and fall right back into that old thought system of separation. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is remember that we are all part of the same ocean. We're all part of the same God. And if we are God, you might ask, why do we do so many bad things? Why do we make so many bad decisions? Why do human beings continue to fight and kill one another? Why is there so much fear and hatred and death and sadness in the world? Why do we destroy the very environment that sustains our life? And those are fair questions. But I would like to offer you a simple reason for all these conditions is that we don't know who we are. To me, that's the only cause of all of that stuff that you term as bad and evil. It's a false sense of who you are, a false sense of separation, of upholding the idea that you are limited, that you're separate, and that you must die, that you must endure pain, that you must be, in this sea of suffering until you pass from this earth. That's crazy. Life is good. Life is wonderful. Life is magnificent. And most of you are waking up to that fact. Yes? Yes. So now, your only job is to extend that to your neighbor. Isn't that wonderful? How much love can I give? I wrote a song one time entitled that, How Much Love Can I Give? Amazing idea that I'm only here to give and receive love. So how much, it's a great practice. How much love can I receive today? I'm going to let it in. Thank you for your love, by the way. I'm going to let it all in. Now I'm going to give it away. I want to give it away until I feel completely empty. Why? That way I can receive more. And it's a great practice each day to get up and think, what can I give today? How much can I give and to who? Who needs my love? Where can I be of greatest service this day? I often make a list in the morning. I invite you to do the same thing. Make a list. Instead of making a list, I need to go grocery shopping, I need to go to the bank, I need to fix the car, I need to mow the lawn, I need to paint the spiritual center. No, make a list of all the ways that you can serve and the people you can serve. Who needs your love the most today? Make a list of those folks. I guarantee all that other stuff will get done anyway. It'll just become part of your love list. But I really think, to me, that's the most important thing, is to remember why I'm here, who I am, why I'm here, and to go and do it. Get out there and do it, and forget, and stop doing all that other stuff. Stop judging, stop complaining, stop saying somebody else's cause of my world, the cause of my problems. Something else, factors outside of me are causing all of this. It's just not true. The causation of it all can only be in one place. And that's where all your power is to realize you're the causation of your own experience. So, the limited mind of the ego cannot accurately demonstrate who you are. The Christ in you is the only source that you can trust to hear, translate the spiritual impulse of God mind, and manifest it in the world. The Christ in you is the only one that can understand the impulse, spiritual impulse of God mind. It doesn't speak in words, it speaks in frequencies of energy and vibration. And when you can translate that energy into active experience in you, wow. What an adventure. What an amazing adventure that you'll be on. In fact, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of the Unity Movement, said that the Christ mind is our only reality. Imelda Shanklin, in the book, What Are You?, said you will never know your true identity until you let the mind of God instruct you as to what you are. You will never know your true identity by searching for it in the darkness of your own limited concepts. when you allow the mind of God to instruct you as to what you are. Woohoo! That's where it all starts to happen. And that's magnificent. And we have lots and lots of people and teachers and books and preachers and people who will help point the way. But that's all they can do for you. That's all I can do for you is point you in that direction. You have to step in that direction. And I would, some of you, start running in that direction. Because we've been going in the wrong direction, or let's say a less fruitful direction for a long time. We've been going in the direction of separation and judgment and limitation. Separate from all that is blessing me. Separate from you and from God. Because I'm trying to protect this false sense of identity that I made. When I let that go, I let the Christ or the light represent me. Wow. Something new is happening. God mind is instructing me and moving me. And that's my true reality. Charles Fillmore also says in The Revealing Word that the supreme realization is unity with God mind. Complete oneness with Christ consciousness. That's our supreme realization. So that's what I'm always attempting to teach and to share with you, is that supreme realization of who and what you are. Everything else will take care of itself. That's when you cease to worry about all the little things. That's when you cease to worry about all the big things. That's when you cease to worry at all. You've given it to God, mind, and you are moving with that instruction and that supreme realization of the unity with God, mind, the oneness with Christ consciousness. So the positive note here is that this realization is happening more abundantly now than at any time in human history. This is what Charles Fillmore was writing back in the 30s. Imelda Shanklin wrote that in 1929. She wrote that book, What Are You? So it's not new, but it's happening now more abundantly than at any time in human history. And that's what we need to be focusing on. I'm trying to figure out why human beings are thinking the way they're thinking, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I try to put a causative reason to it, and it keeps coming back to not knowing who we are. It just comes back to that every time. When I know who I am, I'm not going to attack my brother or my sister. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to put you outside of me. I'm not going to have some outside force being the cause of what I experience. Isn't it amazing? When I know who and what I am going to live and move and have my being in that which is God, that which is good, and that which is me. So here's the rub. It has to be accepted. You can't just know Christ is within you. You have to accept it. Once accepted conceptually, intellectually, even emotionally, it must be demonstrated. You have to demonstrate it in order to keep it. That's the only thing. You have to live it. There's a lot more things going on around here these days. You'll notice when we get to the announcements. There's a lot of things going on because each and every day we're involving ourselves in more activities that demonstrate the Christ, that demonstrate our oneness, that demonstrate our truth. Each and every day, we are just focused on those things. As the fifth principle of unity will tell us, it's not enough to know these principles, my friends. One must live the truth that he or she knows. You have to live this truth. Live the truth that you know to the best of your ability. It'll always expand. I can talk about truth all day long, but it isn't until I come into the realization and the demonstration that I am the truth, I am the way, I am the life. That will be when I'm allowing myself to be guided by the Spirit and the consciousness of God mind, not my own limited thinking, my ego mind. I am the way, the truth, and the life. That wasn't stated just for one being. If we are one, and that's for you too. And until you are the way, the truth, and the life, you'll demonstrate the opposite. So when that glorious day comes, when I turn my life and my will entirely over to God mind and the Christ within me, then I will know true peace, and I will authentically show up as Christ in the world. I will be living and demonstrating the principles that I teach. So I wake up in the morning, and that's what I pray for. Claim a blessing for this day, and claim that I can be the Christ today, that I can be a little bit better than I was yesterday in demonstrating the truth of my being and our oneness in God. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.